Awesome. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. Um, I am so excited today to have this opportunity to introduce Stefan to you. I am Devet. I'm a Christian numerologist and relationship coach. I help people build their relationships and self-confidence. And as a spiritual entrepreneur, I thought it would be amazing to bring some really fascinating, intriguing, authentic, amazing people to the table and just pick their brain, ask questions, and really just learn from what they do, what they offer, their perspective, their insights and ideas. And today is really a gift and a blessing to have Stefan with us today. So I am really stoked, and I'll just let you go into telling us more about you, what you do, how that works, what got you started, all the good stuff.
Good morning, David, and thank you for having me here. So my name's Stefan Sczyrba, and a bit about me. So I grew up like everybody else. We grew up in a family, and we go on with our life. And I had an experience from a younger age where for many years I was very quiet, didn't say much. And I kept it quiet, and I just continued on with my life with it. And for many years, it was something that I had struggled with. I thought it was like kind of the norm thing. It was quiet, it was polite, and I found out later on that in life that you're talking about leadership there. So leadership's important in this plane, in this physical reality. Leadership, relations, and how well a person communicates or expresses. And the way it's very clear for me, I was up for a cup of coffee this morning. I came back and got a download that if the foundation is not solid, everything else is not going to work. If one is building their empire or building their business or building their career, if deep down inside they're aware that inside they have holes in it or they have leaks in their foundation, there's no judgment, there's no blame with this. The universe with the soul of each and every one of us having a soul here and 5 guides, we volunteered coming here to do a better job in this lifetime and to rectify whatever happened. I found out about this in my 30s. In my 30s, when at the time I was working in the oil and gas sector, the money was good. I had struggled for many years prior to that, and it was simply doing something that my dad wasn't able to do. And because of that, I said, well, I'll do it. I'll do it. I kept working. And from doing that, it turned into a resentment later on. Not so much as a resentment, but it turned into, it's a burden, and I'm doing something that it affected my health. And from working myself into the ground and several near-death experiences, the universe then intervened. So when the universe intervened, it's like, okay, they're not teaching us at the college, they're not teaching us at the university, there's something else going on here. And that was in a very short nutshell, that's what my life was. I was a very quiet type of a guy. Was always working, always had that dream of going to be as a pilot or in the military or as an officer. And I found out later on, these were things my dad wasn't able to do because of what his scenario was when he left Germany after the war.
Oh, wow.
So there's no blame, there's no judgment with it. It's just that when somebody gets stuck, this is the reality of it. And it's for every culture, it's for every race, it's for every creed, every religion. The soul, when it decides to come here, it may vest 50 to 100, 150 years of its life prior to coming here. On the other side, it'll pop up a contract. Who wants to sign up for this? Who wants to sign up for these type of a parents or this type of a culture or this type of an environment? And when we're in that 5D in the universe, what makes this place so special is the 3D reality, which we're now embodied being completely into the 5D, is the emotions here. So in order for the soul to go in and release whatever the karma it's holding on to, like things like the Akashic records, which is now technically null and void, it's obsolete, it's there as a trap. The feelings, this is what the soul's stuck with. It doesn't care whatever happened in the past lifetimes because it's gone. That experience is gone. So when we're physically here, it's not like we have a pause button or a stop button or a rewind button saying, well, I want to go back. I want to fix all this. It doesn't work like that. So I bought a meeting after my experience, and I should explain prior to that physical experience where I left this reality and into the other side, there is a limit to what the body can handle. If one starts pushing beyond that threshold, there's consequences to it. And for myself there, I wound up having like an energetic black ring around my heart. I had no energy from my hips down to the bottom of my feet.
Oh, wow.
So this was the severity of it. And the heart chakra, I blew that into, I don't know, billions of pieces, and it went in all different directions. So for those who are doing esoteric and metaphysical type of work, or for the person who's listening to this, it simply means that the heart's like, that's it. We're shutting things down. We're not doing anything else here. And it was from that experience I found out in the 7 main chakras, the heart chakra is the only one that cannot be tampered with because it's connected to the soul or to one's higher self, and the higher self is a fragment of one's soul. So when that happened, then I realized, okay, now I got this mess on my hands here. What am I going to do with it? And what do most people do? They cover it up. They masquerade it, myself included. I'm this, I'm that. I was a commercial pilot. Or if they're designated, if they're in service, or if there's a profession or whatever they're involved with. And they're using that to mask whatever they're what's going on in one's life. And the universe said, hey, you're coming here to do something else. So it was respectfully, it was definitely a massive leap of faith, being able to walk away from the societal norms. Definitely growing up, I mean, my dad being from West Germany, I mean, the standards and the criteria was all up here.
Oh, I bet.
And brilliant man in many ways. Really a really smart guy, very ambitious guy. My mom from Holland, so there's a different mixture there. So there's 2 different cultures, there's 2 different backgrounds. And growing up with all this, so I grew up with a broken type of an English, and the communication was the biggest thing there. And it's not communicating. We live in a world where communicating, and now more and more social media is everything. I am partially not saying biased towards it, but it is, in order to get the message out there, if one's not speaking or articulating or sharing their message, they're going to be gone in this ocean of people. Like they're nobody. I'm saying it humbly, I'm just saying it up front. It's until somebody starts having a voice or somebody gets really good at something and getting that message out there, this is where things start to change.
Yeah, I noticed people are so afraid to have that voice. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be different. And yet that's what's needed. The world really needs their perspective, their ideas. And it's almost like it's hiding under, a blanket. It's like this bright light that they have that other people need. Right. Yeah. And I guess it's, fear of the ego.
What are the 2 major fears? Death or near-death experiences, and public speaking.
Public speaking, yeah. I mean, even just, talking with you before this, having that fear in a sense, or something holding back from being seen and doing interviews and, being public, yet there's so much to offer. And it's almost this like sinister energy that wants to keep it down and keep it silent when, right?
Yes.
We should be screaming, our knowledge and our gifts and talents out there because there are people that need it. And so the heart, you talked about like the heart, is that something that you find with most people, that it's what they're holding, down the most, and that they're not expressing?
I got a few answers here. Most people, I'm generalizing here, that would be a fair statement. Maybe 60%, maybe 70% have their heart closed. That's out there.
Okay.
from my experience, from what I'm seeing, and please correct me here, I think women in general have a much opener, have a much bigger heart, or in a space within the heart than the guys do. So that's just been my own observation over the many years, especially now as I'm stepping into this type of work, not as a work, but as a healing art. The other reality is most people here are without their soul. Most people are soulless on this physical plane. So there's a lot of talk there dealing with soul, soul power, soul enlightenment. And I got other words, and I'm going to be choosy with this. I mean, I'm also going to be direct with this, that when the soul decides to come here to this physical plane, it's not coming here on a picnic. The soul does not want anything to do with this place at all.
Interesting.
So when a soul decides to come here, it's investing a lot of time, a lot of energy. And for myself here, like for each and every one of us, I want to put in my hand for the assignment. My soul came in with at least another 15 or 20 or more people at the time. So my soul, in case if something ever happened to me, we all read the newspaper, we all find out, well, such and such, if there's a near-born death, or there was a freak accident, or somebody passed away, that person's out and they get taken to the other side. However, the soul still has other ambassadors that while it's here, it will do what it can in high intentions and with a high expectation of sorts, that it's able to clear up that emotional friction. So when we mourn or when we lost something that happens, or what you're saying with the heart, once the heart closes, then this is where people get locked into that lower frequency. And if people get stuck in an energetic frequency, if it's grief, if it's sadness, if it's anger, these are all walls that go around the heart. And breaking that, it's not like there's a physical part of us and there's an etherical part. And what the Spirit made it very clear for me is that we are a spiritual being. Bob Proctor talks about it. Many, many other people go online or find out yourself. I found out this the hard way. We are as a spiritual being. And then when we come here, the soul has made it very clear for me that 100% of whatever's going on in our life is all emotional. The moment when we clear out that emotional friction with our guides, we're then able to clear out this lifetime, and more importantly, energetically into the Akashic records. You can go on there and you can clear the whole thing out. This is what the soul's screaming about, because when the soul comes down here, in order for the soul to grow or to expand in its evolution, it's stuck with all this karma. So when it decides to come here, it's asking, can you please go in there, go through this thing called a huge emotional experience, but do not be stuck by it. And I think it's really a gift. It is a gift when people are able to open up their hearts, because when you're open with your heart, this connects you back into your higher self.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, because the heart is what really connects us to other people when we open our heart, right? And you talk about those walls that we build around our heart. And I forget who said it, but I heard someone say to be careful with the walls that you build, that they do not become your prison, because those walls, right, can really keep us separate from other people when we need that connection. I agree with you as well, as far as like the heart, as far as the man and the woman. I do feel that women are more open with our hearts. I mean, even if our heart gets broken, we tend to love more, keep going. And men, I feel like their heart is maybe more sensitive, or more maybe even fragile in a sense, where it's
I think it has to do more so with the heavy programming. Be a man, level up, keep it quiet, hold your emotions, don't say anything. So it's all
it's interesting, because you do see that a lot in men. They don't talk about what they're feeling. They don't talk about the heartfelt stuff, I mean, just the way we communicate. I mean, when men, let's say you're at a party, with couples, and, the men, they're usually, when they're talking about the weather, they're literally talking about the weather. You go in the kitchen, the women are talking about the weather. They're talking about their argument they had last night, or, what it's like in the family. And it's like, completely different. Women, I think, are gifted with expressing
Thank
themselves
God. Yes.
more. Yeah. And men are just, like you said, don't cry, man up.
Yes.
Um, there is, I think, power in that for men to stand in that
Oh,
strength,
yes. Yes.
right? To stand in that strength, but there has to be a balance, because there has to be some sort of opening their heart, because when they do, they move mountains. I mean, they
Yes.
hold on to so much, but when they open up, there is so much treasure there, right? I mean, what do you find about do you see something in different in, and I'm sure there is, like in how, men age, with a young boy, who's more expressive, and, they start being told by society to keep quiet or don't express their feelings.
Yes.
But is there some sort of, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how do we help men like break through that?
Ooh. We all have free will. So you cannot intervene with someone's free will. That's a big one. There's cosmic and there's universal laws here that are etched in place. That's not going to work.
Mhm,
If a person's willing to open up, that's something else.
mhm,
From my own experience, there's no way I would have gotten into this unless the universe intervened.
mhm,
When the universe intervened, then I realized I was in a mess. I was in a real authentic mess. I
mhm,
had masqueraded it with a nice six-figure job as a dream job as a commercial pilot. On a nice sport bike. I was living the life, perhaps the life of Riley to a certain degree. On the inside, my foundation was crumbling, and I knew it.
mhm,
So for the men and equally for the women, I hold more of it in for the women with this, and I'm emphasizing with the women because the new consciousness for the next 1,000 years is with the divine feminine female energy. So the
okay.
men had better learn and grow that if they decide to step into this new consciousness or this new energy, it belongs to the women. What we're seeing around globally right now is the complete 3D collapse of all the systems. And these have been run from the male perspective, of the male energy, dealing with, we call it three main issues here, dealing with power, greed, lustation. And this is what's heavily programmed and with a lot of people. Thank God there's a lot of gifted men out there. One that I want to meeting is Joseph Gubby, a phenomenal person.
Mhm,
So the universe sent him 100 years ahead of time to assist people throughout this awakening process. I'm sure there's many others. For the men or for the women, if when they decide to get into this, it's a decision. And it's not just something that, well, I'm gonna sit by the beach, I'm gonna play the guitar, and I'm gonna be loving rainbows. Because I'm gonna be the first guy to say, you're gonna be in for a ride. If you can think of there's a few movies that have come out there. Jupiter Ascending would be a good one. The first Matrix.
mhm,
Things like Star Wars and Star Trek and all that stuff, it's not science fiction. It's the real thing.
mhm,
So whatever you can think of in terms of movies, it's technically real. It's the news that's being bombarded. It's all false.
mhm,
What allowed me to really break free from a lot of this is when I left home at a younger age, I was defiant that I was going to find a way to escape whatever was going on in my own life. So I'm using another spin with this, that a person, at least from my own perspective, or the niche that I'm assisting with, are those that are very, very hungry, very relentless. My soul's been here 495 times. And each and every time the job never got done. So I made a firm decision. How many guys would you be aware of for the women out there to be willing to give up a six-figure job or a dream job? That's going to be the first thing, the first decider.
mhm,
If people are able to make a decision that, because it's comfortable, it's comfortable. I'm not saying for me, I worked my tail off to get there. It's then the ability to walk away from something like that. The message that I'm getting here is the moment it starts affecting someone's health, and if the soul decides to intervene, and if the soul decides to really shake them up, and we're in this 5D, We're also in the year 2022. Anything that we're holding on to, anything that we're resisting, we keep holding on to it. The soul's going to shut a person down at one point, especially if the person's not getting the lesson. So I'll use me as the example. This 5D here, it came in the end of 2012. It was there to free humanity from this matrix. And the matrix is the lower frequencies. Those are the feelings of shame, guilt, apathy, grief, sadness, desire, anger, and pride.
Okay.
So these are the lower frequencies. This is what's stuck. This is what gets people stuck in these lower belief systems. Dr. David Hawkins refers to in most lifetimes, some people are able to get 2 or 3 points, maybe 4 points above in consciousness. The 5D here is to completely rattle the cage and for people to get a glimpse of there's something else out there. And when a person's ready, the people start to show up. I'm just saying this from my own experience.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that, well, what does it take to open up? I tell you right now, from my own personal experience with this, even for those that in the past lifetimes that were able to connect spiritually, they still didn't get the job done. They didn't get it done because normally from a younger age, the interference, when it comes either from the family, the culture, or the religion, between the ages normally between the ages of 5 and 9, this is where all the stuff happens.
Okay.
I was just very, 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 very lucky. And I took this to heart because I knew the severity that I got myself into. And energetically from the soul contract, I had experienced things at the 300 to the 400% deeper level than everybody else. And this was then where it was like, if I don't deal with this, I already had a few downloads. I'm seeing somebody else. I'll be coming back here for another lifetime. So then I didn't really care at that point when I thought about somebody else's opinion, from the parents, from the culture, from society, from the college, from the work environment. I decided, up with all this, I'm doing something for me. And then I think that would be as a better answer to provide there. And when a person's in that type of a situation, then when a person's hit, I don't say hit rock bottom, but when you hit rock bottom, you can only go up from there.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. I mean, it sounded like, and you see this a lot. You'll see people that they hit rock bottom. They hit their rock bottom there, and they bounce back up. You see a lot of celebrities or entrepreneurs that talk about living in their car at one point, or being homeless, living on the streets, and you're thinking, and now they're multimillionaire, or they're these famous actors or actresses that had this like hardship, and then everything transformed from there. So it would have been a decision at that point, is what you're saying, that they then make that they want things to be different.
We're living some interesting times, and I want to add a couple things to it. Yes, I agree with what you're saying there 100%. I honestly believe there's a lot of people that are very silent, whether they get on social media, whether they even get their name out there, it doesn't matter. That's even irrelevant. There's a lot of parents that are busting their butt each and every day to make things happen. I'm saying this from my own experience. I was lucky enough being born in Canada. And when my dad and my mom, from my dad's side, when he left Germany, it was to escape all the horrific nonsense that was going on when they were after World War II. So there's a lot of things here in Canada I want to take for granted. Now, there's a lot of other people, now they may say, well, being born in Western Europe is an advantage, or being born somewhere else, or being born in the US, or if it's in Japan, or wherever it is. The soul's chosen that in a very well-intentioned way there, that what I'm getting here is, the message I'm getting here is, we take a lot of things for granted. A lot of things are taken for granted. The moment when that etherical bubble around us, when it's removed, then you start working not in the human realm, but you start connecting with the universe. This opens the suitcase. That's like I call the first step into the awakening. And it's like, oh my God, dear God, what have I got myself into? And there's no going back. And then step by step by step, then the heat starts coming on. Then the emotions, then the vulnerability comes in. Now, how many people, I'll say it here, how many would be authentic and being emotionally vulnerable, or allowing that vulnerability to be exposed? Because we're spirit. We're coming here to learn and grow. And I took it to heart, and I just followed the guidance that I got with it, and I cleaned up the lower mess. And from there, I was relentless, because this is, most of humanity is stuck in this lower frequency, in this lower nonsense. And if there was more people that were illuminated in what you're talking about there, unfortunately, a lot of this, what we deem as celebrities or as famous people, these people are no longer anymore, because a lot of it's been disguised or perverse or perverted, that these are really famous people. In this disclosure time right now, there's a lot of these people that are no longer. There is a massive shift going on. Just to emphasize, it's not just me speaking about this. There's many people that went quiet and they went underground. They're doing their thing, because behind all this, there's been a system in place that was designed to entrap most of humanity. When the soul does not want to come here, it doesn't want to come here because there's other technology. If they get a hold of the soul, they're going to use that soul as a battery or some other stuff that shouldn't be talked about. So the celebrity thing, politics, politicians, religion, well, everything was going crazy for the last 2.5 years globally, and with the certain people from the white hats, the military from the light side, from the good side, from the galactic forces from the light, they've been clearing out a lot of this horrific mess.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be an eye opener. It's going to have a lot of people's heads opened up after, going, oh my God, we had no idea. So I don't want to glorify anyone or anything. I'm just saying, when you start getting in, when I started getting in touch with me, and I started getting touch with the higher self, and I made a firm decision that I'll do whatever I got to do here to connect back with my home source, with the universe, this is where things started to open up. I tell you, it was some of the best training, hands down, the best training I ever got in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever I didn't deal with from a younger age with mom and dad, the universe showed it right in my face there many years later at an identical restaurant, a high-end, pristine restaurant with the same issues. So it doesn't matter if it's a wealthy or a poor environment, if it's an elite group or if it's somewhere else, the vibration is a vibration. It's the energy match of it. Right. I am all in favor of the underdog. Do not get me wrong with that. Yeah. I will happily cheer for that person when there's no way out, and they make that decision. There's a lot of people I look up to. They're like, man, that person made it. This person made it. Sure. It's very inspiring. I'm just also emphasizing that there is a lot of celebrities now that are no longer. This will be disclosed as it needs to be disclosed here, because this is where it sends a false message or a false image of what's going on out there. Or for the young women that are looking at, or men, including, from musicians or famous people, you find out what's going on afterwards with kids, the trafficking and such. So
yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting that you, with everything that you're saying, because we're seeing it right now. Like, it is literally, the curtain is being pulled back. We are beginning to see things, and it's shocking. It's shocking to see that there's this whole energy happening that we literally had no idea that it's like it's uncovering something that it has to come up, it has to come out. It's kind of like, like a sore that you have that has to be drained, in a sense, in order for it to be healed, right? Yes. Like, it has to come up and be seen, and so that we can address it and heal it energetically. And you were talking about the emotions earlier. It's interesting because our emotions, if they're not dealt with, they manifest in our body in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a cancer or back pain or migraines or something. Right.
It's all reversible if a person's willing to let go of that resistance, whatever that feeling is. So from the beginning of the call there, well, Stefan, what do you do? My gift is assisting people with releasing that emotional friction. It's from the foundation. Because the people on D, as the energies continue to escalate in this 5D consciousness, there's been a lot of people that are going to have either, unfortunately, the system is not designed to educate people. The colleges, the universities don't talk about this, or they give the breadcrumbs out and they're cashing in on it. And I'm saying that from my own experience. It's the emotions on deep on the inside, and it needs to be taken out gutted out from the root. Once this is gutted out, it assists that person. That way, at least they're able to honor the soul contract. They may not have the consciousness of it now, or later on, once they get older, they're going to have such a vast appreciation with it. Thank God I did go through that tough experience. Thank God I did have to go through the mess, because there was a blessing, or there was an insight there that I need to really learn and grow from. And from that, this is where we start connecting back in with our higher self.
Right. Yeah. And it's
to get hold of all this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Aligning with your purpose, right? Your true purpose or your contract.
Yes.
As you would say, it's fulfilling that. I mean, that's the purpose, is being here to be who God created us to be fully that expression. And it's all the idea, the society, the conditioning, as you were saying, that suppresses all that. The idea that I'm not good enough, or I don't have anything to offer, or, things shouldn't be the way they are, in a sense, without allowing it so that you can be your best self. And so so you work with individuals who are wanting to transform, or they feel that there's something more, but they're not exactly sure how to uncover that, or how do you exactly help people with that?
So I've been very thankful, I'm very grateful that in the last number of years, that as I worked on myself there, bit by bit, I started getting connected with my higher self, with my five main spiritual guides. And it's all earned through the trust of the universe. And it's not just me, each and every one of us has this opportunity. So we're never here alone. When we sign up with the soul, we have the five main guides that are there to assist us in trusting that we'll get back on track some way. For those that have assisted, either it was dealing with suicide, loss of a child, or things were on the down and outs. There was other areas where they were fulfilled, say with the business, they were fulfilled with their life and it affected their health. Or they knew that deep down inside, Stefan, if I don't deal with this here, I don't want to come back to you for another lifetime. Or as I'm talking to someone and all of a sudden I get a message or two and I'll relate the message. And they look at me saying, Stefan, what do we got to do here? So then I'll ask for the person's date of birth, I'll ask for the name. And I'm not using it as a prediction tool. I'm going, forget about the purpose, forget about the destiny. I said, look, if you want to deal with things, or do you want to come back here for another lifetime going through the same headache and the same nonsense? Most of the time they say, Stefan, what do we got to do here? So then we go back in through the chart, we go through the blueprint here, and immediately I look for, if a person, well, I'm working with a person recently that they're 73, and they've gutted everything out throughout their entire lifetime. They've gutted the whole thing out. They were very adamant saying there's no way I'm coming back. I said, well, if that is for what it is, we went in there. We went back into the inner child, to all the different inner childs. We've gone deeper now into the fetus, back into the past lifetimes. And recently we were doing the advanced meditations where we're going back to the soul's initial first lifetime being here. Now this is way deeper in the work, and we're gutting out the whole thing. We're clearing out all the ancestral mess. It's this lifetime that is crucial. The souls that are coming here, my specialty is awakening the old souls and the master numbers. They're coming here. Unfortunately, for those that have the master numbers currently, a lot of them were they using it to enhance humanity, or to completely deplode or implode or destruct humanity. And if you take a look out there, these names will be coming up in divine order and divine timing. So when I'm working with somebody, I'm always asking, what's the feeling? What's the feeling behind the feeling? How did it make a person feel? And then we start digging. Then through the blueprint system that I utilize, we go through a guided meditation. Through the guided meditation, we identify all the feelings, and then we're going in for the bottom stuff. So we're not taking out one or two feelings with a teaspoon. We're going in with the front end loader. We're going in deep, deep, and excavating as much as the person can handle.
Mm-hmm.
And coming here is one of the last frontier healers to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of souls this year for 2022 and for last year and the year prior, and now the new year is coming ahead here. There's a lot of souls leaving because they cannot handle this new energy. There's also a lot of new souls coming here. And more importantly, these are the old souls and the master numbers that they were stuck. So as an example, from my parents' generation, most of the old souls that were coming here, they were not able to make it because they were stuck with that lower frequency energy. So the master number soul ambassadors that were here, they didn't get the job done. Like 99.999%. They came here, and they came and went right back, and they're coming right back here again, going through the same nonsense. So coming here to say, coming here to shut this down. It's to close all the agreements. So whatever the friction from the family, the culture, the religion, women are going to be more open to this because they were able to visualize things in their consciousness. What happened from the past lifetimes with women being burned at the stake, or for men that fought against a certain cause and they all got taken out. It's to release all this.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the soul's after. And then it's for us here. We're born from, we're coming from the universe in pristine condition. Is as we're representing the soul in this lifetime, this is the one we have to master. And the toughest part for me through all this here was really to master with cleaning up my foundation. That was something that thank God I got it done with, and I was able to do it at a younger age.
Mm-hmm.
At the age of 35, I got introduced to this, and I jumped in 100%. I didn't look back, and I'm 45 right now, and it's like a whole new arena. So
yeah. So how would somebody know if they're ready to work with you? Like, what would they be feeling or maybe going through that would indicate that they're ready to, contact you and work with you?
well, they can find me through Emotional Soul Healing, and I do most of my work there either as an introduction. I start off either as a blueprint chart or blueprint consultation. And from there, I give them, it's about an hour and a half there. We go over there. What are they coming here for? What are they coming here to learn? Not for their destiny. That we don't even talk about that. It's to identify what is it that throughout your lifetime you've been stuck with. And then we go through a guided meditation where we clear it all out. Then they start having the ability that I don't need to go back to school or taking that one degree or that other degree. Once they clear out that friction or that lower junk from whatever happened, all of a sudden they realize that weight that's on their shoulders, it's gone. And for most people that I've worked with, they're like, what else can I let go of? What else can I free myself of? And then they start getting hungry. When they start getting hungry, they start getting excited about it. This is where they can start moving with us.
Gotcha. So maybe someone who is feeling the maybe pressure, they feel that they need to let go, or feeling that there's something more.
Just letting go. Or I was just talking to somebody yesterday. They had tinnitus in the ear. I was a flight attendant for many years, and they were worried. They're like, "Wow, my God, they're now getting older as well. What am I going to do here?" I said, "Look, there's something else here. This 5D consciousness. In order to get into it, you have to let go of that 3D emotional knapsack." And I'm also using it as an example there. If there's a health concern, once you identify the physical feeling, it releases all that friction, and then that health returns back to its natural state. So whether it's the C word, whether it's a heart issue, spinal issues, brain traumas, I've been very, very fortunate with what I'm working with here. We've cleared it all out.
Okay. So someone who is feeling physical, emotional pain,
Yes.
that is ready to let it go, then they would be your ideal client.
Yes.
Okay.
Ideal client. The ideal client is someone that is relentless, someone that is massively driven, started from nothing and worked their way up, and then really, really started to take off. And then if they want to painting like a wall somewhere later on, and they want to painting a massive wall, And these were the type of people that I grew up with. These were the people that I learned so much from, and with me being one of them, until I cratered. And then it was a wake-up call. And it's unfortunate because I'm seeing some really, really brilliant people, and they're stuck with something. And if I put the time and the money aside, deep down inside, they're like, I have no freaking idea what I'm going to do with this. Or they take that experience and then they delete it somewhere, or they bury it deep down inside, or they shovel it underneath the carpet. And instead, they have so much to offer, so much to give, and so much insight to provide. You're not going to learn this from attending a lecture. Yes,
Right.
there is certain people, I'm encouraging that 100%, but the old way of doing it, that's gone. And we can learn so much now on social media, like through YouTube, finding the right people or the right people. And this whole notion of being spiritual, each and every one of us on this plane is spiritual. It's just on a different level of consciousness. And then live your life, be happy. We're all in their birthrights, being happy, being joyful, and being fulfilled.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love it. So you give people freedom. You give their soul
I
freedom
assist
to
people with that.
express,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
People have to earn this. It's not something that's just presented to them on a silver platter. It's I guide people through it. They got to be hungry. They got to be motivated, because once they start connecting with the universe, then they're like, okay, Stefan, it's game on. What do I got to do now?
Right. Okay.
Because when
And
you
so
do it, go ahead.
so do you have like a program, or is it like a one-on-one
I offer
just
several programs. Yes,
okay.
I
Okay.
offer
So
things.
no, go ahead.
I offer it initially with the blueprint chart.
Okay.
The blueprint chart with a couple of healing meditations. I offer a soul foundation program where we're going in deep, and for 8 weeks we go in there, we clean it all out, and then we repeat the process the second time, because the first round they're overloaded. There's smoke coming out of their ears.
Okay.
They integrate it for a while, and they come back for a second time. It's included in the program. And then I offer one of the bigger programs. It's to go from start to finish. It's to shut the whole thing down, and it gets a person connected back in with their inner child, clearing all that energy out, getting connected in with their 5 main guides, connected with their higher self, and then closing or attaining their soul power with this. So these are for the small souls, the old souls, the 8 and the 9 vibrations, and for the master numbers, the 11-2, the 22-4, and the 33-6. If there's other vibrations above and beyond that, I've assisted a couple like that. This is what I'm here to do.
Awesome. Well, I love that. And it's really an honor and a gift for me to have you just enlightening us. And I know it's barely the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg of what is involved. And I'm sure if we went even deeper, my ears would be smoking too. So if anybody wants to find you, what is your website again, or and social media, or how does anyone
Yeah,
get a hold of you?
they can find me through social media, emotional soul healing, emotionalsoulhealing.com. That's my website. Social media on LinkedIn, Instagram, Parlor, Getter, GETTR, and Facebook.
Okay, awesome. I will put all those links. If you want to send them to me after this, I'll put all the links down under this video, so anybody that wants to reach out can get a hold of you. And you and I did a session at one point, and it was very revealing and there were things that I didn't realize were there that I needed to let go of. And it was really surprising for me, because I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of soul work. I've done, I'm a numerologist as well. I've, hypnotherapist. I've done the deep work, and, working with you, it really opened up some things that I did not realize. And it was really awesome. So, anybody who's looking for that, release, or that deeper self that is there, and it's maybe there's walls around it and you want to break those down, you're definitely in good hands. I speak from experience of, my best friend also did a session with you, and I mean, for weeks she was still talking about things that were still being revealed to her. So it was really, really powerful.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. So thank you. Is there any last word or closing statement that you'd
Oh,
want to offer?
I'd like to say thank you, David, for having me here. It is, it's quite a gift. Trust me when I say that. And then had you asked me this 10 years ago or 15 years ago that I'd be having an interview with somebody like you here or doing this, like no way, absolutely no way. So something else just came to mind here. I'm new with being online with this. If you like, I'd be happy to gift, say, 5 charts or 5 consultations for those that are in your community. I appreciate with getting out there, with having your time or sharing your time with this for me with this today. So if you'd like to see what you can arrange there, and I'd be
Awesome.
happy to be a service there and get things moving. So
Awesome.
I,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I'd like to say that we live technically in this is the toughest school ground in the universe. And when a person thinks that this is their last day, or they're like, man, there's no way out of this, the universe gave me a second chance. It's not like that my life was, yes, in one way it was a mess. There's another way where it reached a certain high with it. What I'm emphasizing is the universe gives each and every one of us a second chance in life. It's not like we're just going to blow it. I've learned that gratitude and being appreciated has been the biggest gift that learning that I've had to learn here. So being humble with that, it's opened up a
Yeah.
lot of doors. I've had to do the work. It's not gifted. It's not just given out freely. Once
Right.
the work's done and it's earned properly, it's there to keep. It's a gift there that's there to keep. So it's
That's
there to
awesome.
inspire somebody, whoever needs to hear that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And second chances, some people think they're at the end, and
yeah,
really it could be the absolute beginning. And
yes,
so, yeah, so thank you for that wise words there. And someone out there definitely needed to hear that right now. So thank you.
you're
And
welcome.
with that, we'll close. And again, I just want to thank you for being here. Reach out to Stefan. Under the video, I'll have all the links there so you could reach out, ask questions. If you're interested in taking advantage of being gifted a session, reach out to me. He's offering 5, so you want to hop on that as soon as possible. And with that, thank you again. I hope everybody has a blessed day. Stefan, have an amazing day.
Thank you,
And
Dee.
we'll see everybody
Thank you.
on the next video. Thank you.
All right.